Yes.
And he is a great fan of Marilyn. If anyone knew Marilyn, this guy really knew him. I met a lot of people. Jim Haspiel, how are you?
I'm just fine. Skip.
God,
How are you?
Yep.
with your camera,
Yes.
running around New York City, following Marilyn Monroe with that
Yeah.
camera. What made you follow? You were just a big fan. You were a fan.
And that's how it started out. I was 16 years old.
Right.
And what can you be at 16?
Right.
But a fan. And somewhere in there, she looked back in my direction. And I don't remember the first time, but sometime later we were sitting in a taxi cab together.
Right.
And obviously at her invitation. And she was telling me something, and in the middle of her thought, she said, "But Jimmy," and I said, "What did you say?" And she started to repeat the thought.
Right.
And I said, "No, no, no, what did you call me?" She said, "I called you Jimmy. Your name is James Robert Haspiel." And then she said, Haspiel. What had happened was the light bulb went off in my head that when I met her, I already knew who she was. I'd never said who I was.
Really?
So she had gone to people around.
She heard who you
Said,
were.
"Who is he?"
Yeah, who is he? Because you were always there.
And then opened up that door and let me in, as it were.
Was she scared those days? Were stars
No.
scared with cameramen following?
It was a different time. It was obviously a gentler kind of era, and we didn't have the man with the knife chasing Teresa Saldana, you know, or the guy with the gun killing Rebecca Schaefer.
Right.
It was a very different time, and celebrities back in the 50s did not need to have a bodyguard, if you will.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, born in Brooklyn.
What made you pick up that camera? Did you see Marilyn on film before?
When I first saw Marilyn, I didn't have a camera.
You didn't?
First time that I saw her, I didn't have a camera.
So she encouraged you to get it.
And I was not, her presence did. I was also not an autograph collector ever. And I watched her giving autographs and posing for pictures.
Right.
And at the end of the session, I just looked at her, or what was going on the street, and I said, "Miss Monroe, would you give me a kiss?" And she looked at me, and there was no written all over her face.
Right.
And I said, "Just here on the cheek." And there was a chorus of oohs and ahs. Help me out, Dixie.
Go ahead.
And she gave me the kiss.
She gave you the kiss.
Yes.
This right here, this picture I want to show. What is this picture of? Can you focus this real quick? This right here.
That's Jimmy, yeah.
This is Jimmy and Marilyn. Focus it real quick. Look at this is you,
17
James.
years old.
17?
Yes, and Marilyn is on the way to Coney Island to have a hot dog and ride her bicycle around Coney Island.
She was at the Actors Studio those days?
Yes, yes.
So you hanged around the Actors Studio then, is that what you did? Arthur Miller days?
I saw her at the Actors Studio, sure. I started, let's say, pursuing Marilyn.
Right.
During the filming of The 7-Year Itch, the location filming in New York.
Is that what?
Actually watched the 5 hours of the shooting of the famous skirt scene.
Right. You did watch it?
Yeah.
Why, Jim? Why?
Who would go away? Would you have left? It was a glorious thing to see.
She was totally fascinating.
Total fascinating. You people, see, I understand what you're going
Yeah.
through, but I can't see, things like that don't excite me to get my whole life wrapped up in
I did.
Jimmy Dean's or Marilyn Monroe's and
Yes.
stuff like that, or, you know, stars, or Judy Garland's.
Bear in mind
Yeah, go ahead.
that I was 16 years old.
Yes.
Bear that in mind. And that as the friendship developed, coming out of the fan-star equation, if
Right.
you will, it just turned into something else entirely.
What did it turn into, Jim?
Well, it turned into a friendship, and it's like the fact that she was a movie star would not be off-putting. It would not make you go away.
Right.
Because she was a movie star. It became a friendship.
What did you know about Marilyn at the time? What did you find out about Marilyn Monroe,
The first
Jim?
thing that I found out about Marilyn Monroe is that the woman in front of me had absolutely nothing to do with the woman on the screen. That was an invention. And in fact, Skip, there was an afternoon when we were walking through the streets of New York,
Right.
and I walked her home,
Right.
and we arrived in front of her building, and I must tell you, she had no makeup on. Her hair was very, very casual. Show that.
This
It's
picture.
a good example.
This is a good example right here with no makeup. Look at close up, real close.
Yeah.
There's no makeup here.
Nothing.
Incredible. She's
Nothing at all.
beautiful.
Yes.
And we are standing on the street having what I call a long so-long. And a passerby who lived in the neighborhood
Right.
and knew that she was a neighbor, if you will,
Right.
stopped a few feet away and started to observe. And within a few minutes, 4 or 5 passerbys were now standing watching. And Marilyn was 5'5½", and I'm 6 feet. So I was looking downward at her. And in life,
Yes.
she had an upward smile and very wide blue eyes and a very, very girlish voice. And suddenly, within less than a minute, the head had tipped back, and the smile came down, and the eyes were now lidded, and the voice register came down, and somewhere in there she said, "I think I have to go now." And I said, "I think you have to go too. I don't even know who you are." Because I had gotten so used to, if you will, Norma Jean, though I called her Marilyn.
Right.
And what she had done simply was to transform herself into her character because there was an audience surrounding us.
Yes.
And so she felt obliged to be her
Marilyn Monroe.
for them.
Yeah. So you really got
Where
to
she didn't have to be her.
Was she
for
a
me.
little girl, Jim? Was she like a little girl?
She had little girl qualities.
Yeah.
But she was a lady who came out of the house in the morning and Skip, this comes from an 8-year, up-close, intense observation.
8 years.
She knew where she was going. She knew how to get there. She didn't need anybody to lead her there. And she made choices in life. And I knew an absolutely
Arthur Miller.
terrific woman.
What happened with that? Arthur Miller. You were there with the
Yeah,
days.
Arthur Miller did something on their honeymoon
What happened, Jim?
that destroyed the marriage on the honeymoon.
On their honeymoon?
Yeah. They went to England. Marilyn was going to make The Prince and the Showgirl.
Right.
With Sir Laurence
She
Olivier.
loved. That was one of her favorites, I think, wasn't it?
I
think it's one of her favorites.
It's the film
James
for which
Bacon
she
told me.
won the most awards.
Yeah, okay.
She won the French Oscar, the Italian Oscar.
Right.
Etc. In any event, we are now in London. I should say they are in London. And in the house in which they were staying, she walked into his study. And there was a pad of some kind open. And he had written on the pad. And he had walked out of the room, and she saw what he wrote. And it was the seed of destruction in their marriage on the honeymoon.
Really?
He had written on the pad, "My daughter is the only woman I will ever love, and I wish that I could find an honorable way to die." Pretty powerful stuff.
Yes, it is.
The fact that she then remained with him for 4.5 years is something of a testament to her willingness to try and make this work.
Do you think she
Because
learned by remaining with him?
I don't know.
She had good times in New York, don't you think, Jim? Let's get back.
She had wonderful times.
I think her favorite place was New York City,
In
don't you
8
think?
years, well, obviously I wasn't there every day.
Yes.
But in my 8-year experience with Marilyn Monroe,
Right.
I saw her depressed twice.
See, I think New York was her place.
You know.
Yeah, it was just a place to get away.
It was. She
California's-
once described New York as, she said, the stimulation here you can't find any other place.
So when I leave New York, I'm camping out.
Me too.
I'm camping out constantly
Oh,
because
New
I
York.
love Manhattan.
I do too.
Jim, this wonderful picture of 7-Year Itch.
Yes.
Tell me about this. Look at this picture.
She gave that
look
to
at
me
Look at this.
on my 22nd birthday.
Autograph.
This is
And
great.
in the skirt there, she has written, "For the one and only," and underlined only.
Right.
I'm boasting now.
That's okay.
She wrote, "For the one and only, Jimmy, my friend," underlining Jimmy,
Uh-huh.
"Love you, Marilyn." And she gave that to me for my 22nd birthday.
So you did a lot of you kept these pictures
Everything.
very private.
I certainly did.
You kept them private and made a book out of it, right?
Yeah, well, I had to be assured by the publisher,
Right.
whatever publisher that would ever be, that no photograph in this book would be retouched, that she would be presented as a human being,
Right.
and if there were a line at the side of her eye, leave it there. If there were a blemish on her shoulder, leave it there. She was a person. And I had to be assured that the quality of the photographs would be stunning, and they are.
Is that why you call it the ultimate look at the legend?
Yeah, the title has two meanings. There are 175 pictures in this book that have never been seen before.
Can I focus more on the camera? Go ahead. Look at that. And look at
And-
this. I love this.
Isn't
Oh,
that something?
that's beautiful.
Could that be a photograph of a woman taken yesterday?
Yes.
You didn't know who she was.
Yes,
It's
that's
so
true.
modern.
Yes, very.
And when I say the ultimate look at the legend, I also mean the 60,000 words that take Joe Citizen or Jane Citizen, if you will, on my journey, because it could have happened to them. You know, I wasn't Arthur Miller. I wasn't
Right.
Joe DiMaggio.
Right.
I was this kid, and it happened.
Clark Gable, Misfits.
Yeah.
This picture, where you look at that picture of, and this is you over here.
Yes, that's
And
Marilyn and myself the day she did the costume fittings for the Misfits.
Right.
And we even have some footage here, I think.
You have the footage? I'd love to see it. Can we show that
Yeah, sure,
footage?
please.
If you can roll that camera, I'd love to see the footage of the. This is a home video, is that right?
That's what it is now.
It's a home video?
originally 8mm film.
Okay, there's no sound. Okay.
No sound.
Good. Okay, here we go. Show it.
First of all, this is a shot taken in 1954.
Right.
When I was 16 in the St. Regis Hotel. She was 12 years older than I. and it was the first night that I met her.
Oh, Jim, you look great there.
This is on my 21st birthday.
She looks happy.
Well, she was happy.
God, she looks happy,
And
Jim.
God knows he was happy.
How old were you, 21?
21.
Oh,
and
look,
was
that's
her,
the kiss.
That was her, no, that's another kiss.
Another
that was
kiss?
her 21st birthday kiss to me. And having kissed me, she pulled away, came back to make a lip print, then came back again, squeezed my waist and said, Jimmy, I remember when you were 17.
Sweet.
This is the day that she shot the costume fittings for the Misfits in 1960.
Beautiful.
And it's just after having done the tests, or the fittings.
Isn't that lovely? How do you feel, Dixie, when you see pictures of Marilyn like this? Dixie?
I just enjoy them. I've never gotten enough of looking at Marilyn and her awe. She's just awesome.
Is she?
Yes. Of course, I feel very badly.
Jim, do you actually think, do you actually think that she overdosed or she did?
No,
because
not at all.
She did what she had to do. She did it, didn't she, Jim?
No,
She wanted.
no.
You don't believe that?
Not at all. Not
She
for a
tried
moment.
it once before, twice
It doesn't
before.
matter. She was an actress, Skip.
Jim, but she tried before, Jim. I've interviewed James
she was-
Bacon, I've
doesn't
Jeannie
matter.
Carmen, Shelley Winters.
Well,
I want your
you've
opinion.
named two people that have no credibility in my book.
Okay, so go ahead. Tell me,
All right.
what do you think about Marilyn? You don't think that she committed suicide?
Not at all. Her career was really in a go position. There was a telegram lying by the side of the bed on which she lay dead.
Right.
That offered her in 1962 money,
Right.
$55,000 a week in Las Vegas. She was having a press conference on Monday with J. Lee Thompson, the director,
Right.
to announce the filming of a picture called I Love Louisa.
Right.
That would star her.
Right.
That she would go right into. That became a film called What a Way to Go with Shirley MacLaine.
Right.
They were also announcing at that same press conference that they would resume filming on Something's Got to Give
Right.
in December. She was in the best shape she'd been in years.
I heard
she
different.
purchased her first home. Well, look at the footage.
Yeah.
I have at home, Skip, 6 hours of, I have every take that she did for Something's Got to Give. She is absolutely, totally letter perfect.
Really?
Yes.
And everyone's telling me that she realized she was downhill.
No. Anthony Summers said to me after he wrote Goddess,
Yeah.
and then I showed him the tape, he said to me, Jim, if I had seen this, I would have written a different book.
The Goddess.
Yeah.
One of the great movies of Kim Stanley.
No.
Isn't that
Goddess
the one?
is a book.
A book. But The Goddess isn't that, wasn't
That's
that?
a
Wait,
movie with
but
Kim
that
Stanley.
is with Kim Stanley. But isn't that a takeoff on Marilyn Monroe? Come on, Jim.
What Patty Chayefsky did,
That's right. Go ahead.
he hung the Goddess on Marilyn's skeleton, if you will.
Right.
And he has himself acknowledged that the Goddess is components of Judy Garland, some of Marilyn,
Yes,
but dominantly that the Goddess is Ava Gardner.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
But
know
he
that.
draped it on the skeleton of Marilyn's life. No, you
Marilyn
don't know.
Monroe, I want to know. Did she was murdered or?
Yes, she was murdered.
You're saying that murdered. I do not like
I'm
it.
saying
but
it out loud.
why? I don't like it, but that's okay.
Well,
do
no
you
one would
believe?
like
do
it.
you
I
bel-
don't like
no,
it.
I don't believe that, but that's okay.
Well,
I'm going to let you
that's
talk. You believe the Kennedys had something to do with that, or
In the book, and this is on the instructions of my publisher,
Go ahead.
if you will,
Yep.
we talk about an actress, a president, a
Right.
politician, and an actor. And all of us know to whom I'm referring. And in the scenario, which comes, I have
Right.
not written this in the book,
Right.
the scenario comes off of a 42-minute voice-activated tape recording that occurred in the actress's bedroom on the day of her death and includes her death.
Right.
All right. And what happens is the actress is in an argument
Right.
with the politician being the president's brother.
Right.
And the argument accelerates into what finally becomes
Because
what I
of
would
the
call a crime of passion.
the diary. Because of over the diary, is it?
Because of the actress's involvement with the politician's brother, the president.
But she kept the diary. They say
she
they-
didn't
they've
keep
never
a
found
diary. She had a red leather-bound address book
Right.
that she made little notes up the sides of.
Right.
It was never a diary. In any event, within the scenario, the actress is murdered by the president's
Well,
brother.
whatever you feel, that's your
Yeah,
opinion.
no
But
kidding.
I don't believe it, but that's
Fine.
okay. Marilyn, the ultimate look at life and the legend.